tell you the other thing, of course, last week, Thursday, the OCR, the official cash rate, is cut by 0.25%. And can I just say, personally, for me, doesn't alter a thing in my world. I don't get any taller, shorter, younger, better looking. And I wouldn't say overnight poorer or richer either. But I'm now seeing stories written about, is the rock star economy making a comeback? Oh, we're buoyant. Oh, finally Adrian Orr's seen the light. And I really always think when I have no idea what's going on economically, how it all works, I just reach out to my good mate Oliver Hartwich at the New Zealand Initiative, who can put it in layman's terms for me, and he joins us by video link now. Oliver, lovely to see you again.
Yeah, good morning, Sean. How are you?
Good, thanks. So is this OCR thing, is this like an early Christmas? Can I relax? Can I buy a new car? Is the pain over?
Well, it wouldn't have made you look any better, of course, but then again, that's not possible.
Yeah.
No, I mean, seriously, it was probably what the economy needed, because the economy is really in trouble. We are not growing at all much on a national basis. When you break it down per capita, we've been in a deep recession, really, so our per capita incomes are much lower than they were before COVID. And actually, this recession was, of course, manufactured by the Reserve Bank because they wanted to counter the inflation that they had caused in the first place. But they might have overdone it. I mean, in both directions. First, they stimulated us too much during COVID, and now they were actually putting on the brakes to get the inflation under control. And in that way, they were really giving the economy a good degree of whiplash.
And we were like a car dovetailing in gravel. Yeah, overcorrect.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
First you swerve to the left, then you swerve to the right, and occasionally, hopefully, we're going to get back to where we should be. And that explains the decision. And the decision, I think, was the correct one to take in the economic circumstances, because inflation is slowly coming down, not quite as fast as I would like, not as much domestically as I would like, because a lot of the inflation reduction is coming from overseas. But at least it is coming down, so that gives the Reserve Bank a bit of room for maneuver. And the room to maneuver is actually to bring the OCR slightly back down. So that's fine. Where I do have a bit of a problem is actually with the communications from the Reserve Bank, because remember, in May they told us this is not going to happen this year. Actually, they highlighted the risks that they might have to increase the OCR again this year before it eventually coming down sometime around the same time next year. And so the Reserve Bank did a 180-degree turn. And that's bad, because reserve banks are supposed to signal to the markets what they're going to do to build some trust and confidence and predictability. And that's the last thing we got from them. Actually, we got the opposite. And to really...
They didn't break a law, though, did they? They're allowed to change their mind.
Of course they're allowed to change their mind. But, every now and then when you change your mind, it would be nice to admit it. But they didn't.
Okay, so are you saying it was... Are you more offended by their attitude and not wanting to admit they've made a mistake, or the damage caused by them not admitting they made a mistake? Because they're two quite different things.
Look, but I think they're related. The problem is actually when you are a central banker, you're always operating under uncertainty, no matter whether you're doing it here or overseas. Central banking, by definition, is risky, because things can always change. There are always risks. There are always unforeseen things that can happen. And there's always some data that you didn't know at the time you made a decision. So it comes with a job that you will be wrong at times when you are central bank chief. And I think what it then requires is actually to be quite open about it and say, hey, I got this wrong. I didn't know what I know now. The facts changed. I had to change my mind. And that gives you credibility. Whereas what we get from the Reserve Bank is the opposite. The Reserve Bank is now trying to tell us that, hey, nothing's changed. We didn't change our minds. We always told you we would do that. And in fact, there's nothing like
always
that.
Tell us that. That's fibbing. That's gaslighting, actually. That's what that's called, I think, these days.
And that is, I think, offensive, because you only have to read their May statement and actually the statement since to see that actually, no, there was a 180-degree turn. Don't get me wrong. I think it is fully justified. Makes good sense what they did last week. But hey, come on, just admit it. It is open to see. Do you really think we're fools? We can't see what you did?
Right. Now, look, the other thing was it last Wednesday the tax cuts came in, and I think I jokingly, only somewhat jokingly, put out a poll on Twitter. What are you going to spend your tax cuts on? Rates rises, mortgage rate increases, or just the cost, or pay your power bills, which are all going up. How long does it take for an interest rate cut to really feed into the lives of people in the street and make life just a little bit easier for them?
I think an interest rate cut takes a while because, of course, you have to resettle your mortgage, and that only happens every year or two. So that takes a while until that filters through. Tax cuts are a different matter. Tax cuts are more or less immediate because you've got the money in your pocket the next time you get your pay.
Well, I don't. It's all going to Mercury bloody Energy. And it'll all be going to Wellington City Council, to be honest.
And when you said, what did you spend your tax cut on? I mean, realistically, you were talking about the price of 2 cappuccinos.
Yeah.
So it's really not that much for the average income earner.
Yeah. Is there going to be another... Well, and we won't ask the Reserve Bank this because we've already established this morning we can't trust a word they say. Is there likely to be another OCR cut before Christmas? What are the markets saying there? And if the answer is yes, does that mean that confidence starts to grow again in our economy?
I think it is quite likely that we're going to get another rate cut, maybe even 2 before Christmas. I think it is likely that this will continue next year. I mean, I could be wrong, of course. There could be shocks. There are things that we don't know that are going to happen from now on until next year. But if everything goes according to plan, touch wood, I think we will see the OCR fall a bit more.
All right. And that, I think, does, from everyone I talk to in business, that creates some confidence, right?
But I'm not sure whether it creates the rockstar economy you mentioned earlier.
Okay, all right. So
let's face it, there are different types of rock stars. When you currently look at the New Zealand economy, the type of rock star that comes to mind is probably Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
So a little bit past his peak. And I think...
As long as it's not Britney Spears, we're going to be okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, I'll go along with you on that one. But we're not getting into Taylor Swift territory.
Yeah.
So I think actually we've got a long way to go because our GDP per capita, what we earn per person in the economy, is still way below where it used to be. The only reason why it doesn't look too bad actually on the headline figures is because we had massive amounts of immigration, and that's kind of keeping the economy propped up for now. But until we actually get to rockstar status, what we have to do is to increase productivity, not just to see a recovery in the property market, which we would get from a falling OCR, but we actually need to get better at producing stuff.
Yeah. Oliver, you know what you've done to me today? I now feel more relaxed about not feeling happier about the OCR cut, but I do
I want to make you feel happy, Sean, sorry.
But I do feel a little bit more hopeful medium term about the economy and business if there are a couple more to come. Can I just ask, what has Adrian Orr said about more cuts?
Well, actually,
if you can trust him.
I was going to say, I mean, he has signaled that he thinks we are going to get back to much lower interest rates if inflation falls according to his plans. The problem is actually, and that's a real problem, he has changed his mind so many times. He has communicated in such strange ways. Why would anyone still care what he says?
Yeah, I get you. Oliver, always good chatting. We must catch up for a bevy. Oliver Hartwich from the New Zealand Initiative. Making macroeconomics or the big picture applicable to us, the wee guys. Sean, just to give you an idea how grateful I am having another $20 in my wages, I got a 50 cent pay rise for the past 2 years, just one, so $12, and I'm expected to wait 2 years till the next, so I'm happy to get that $20 from the government. And I have a trade, says Paul. I get you. All right, OCR dropped. Does this suit the government? Well, of course it does, Hugh, because the happier people are economically, the better for the incumbent government, one would have to say.